All right. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat. Good evening. Good evening. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. We're live. I can see 8 persons are with me here. So please, I don't know if I'm audible enough or if you can hear me. All right. All right. So Ivan's just responded. Good evening. Please, sorry about my display, my camera quality. I'm currently on a low end device. My other device had issues, dying minutes, so I couldn't use it. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Good evening, welcome. Um, all right, so before we get started, I would love to know where you are joining from. So let me know in the chat where you are joining from. Good evening, Florence. Good evening, Sandra. Yes. One of our wonderful clients. Rosemary, lovely to see you here. Wow, several persons are on board. Wow, that's nice. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you can hear me, just let me know where you are joining from so we can get started. All right. Mrs. Eyitemi Julius, also a long-time client of ours. It's lovely to see you here tonight. Yes, good evening. Please let me know where you are joining from before we get started. I promise this is going to be just a brief class. Normally my class, takes quite some time. Let me just confirm this is recording. Um, Good to see you. Good to see you. Trying to get this to record. So please give me a second. Let me see if I can get this to start recording. Trying to maneuver this. Okay. Okay. Let's just give some persons time to join us. I'm seeing 18 persons live here. Okay. Okay. All right. So okay. All right. So let's get started. Let's get started. We're going to be discussing something important tonight. Okay, for those just joining, let me know, confirm you can hear me and let me know where you're joining us from so we can get started, right? So we are discussing something important tonight. Again, I apologize about my camera quality. I'm seeing it's very bad. I had to switch to this device last minute. I don't have any choice right now. So just manage the quality and all that as you can see. But promise you next time it will be way better, right? The device I normally use for recording got, don't know, it just couldn't come up last minute. So I just have to get this going. All right, so couple of persons are here with me tonight. So lovely to see you. Tonight's topic is a very important topic, and the reason why this is important is because we are going to be touching on something that people are beginning to see this whole weight loss stuff like it's no more possible to lose weight if you are not on one of these GLP-1 analogs. I'm talking about things like Ozempic, things like Monjaro, things like different kinds of semaglutide that is quite trendy these days. So people are not beginning to misunderstand it, right? I came across a post a couple of days on social media. Someone was, posted her transformation, and all over the post, people were asking her, "Oh, what medication did you use? How do you like?" People, it's difficult for people to now understand that you can actually lose weight by with heart medication. Like you can actually lose weight by making healthy lifestyle choices, by eating better. So if people now begin to see that, well, this is not possible. So whenever you share from whenever people share their transmission online, whenever people share their their new state after going through weight loss for a couple of months or years, and then they post it on social media, the question they are going to be getting are, what medication did you use? And if you say you didn't use any medication, they kind of even start doubting you. So this is very important tonight, because what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how to activate your body's natural GLP-1, right, for sustainable fat loss. Okay, so what is GLP-1? That is the first question. So what exactly is GLP-1? And why does it work, right? For some persons, yes, it works for weight loss. So we're going to look at what GLP-1 is, why it works. Then when you understand why or how it works, rather, when you understand how it works, then the explanation I'm going to give you tonight, which is going to be the exact principles that you can use to activate the same GLP-1 drugs people are spending thousands of dollars on, to how you can activate it naturally on your body, so you can actually start seeing lasting weight loss results. Okay, so that is what we are going to be discussing in the class tonight. This class was supposed to be for those who are for participants in the rapid reset program that we are concluding by tomorrow. But I just thought to share this to everyone who could benefit from it. So if you are just joining us, you are welcome. It's going to be an interesting conversation. And I promise you, if you've been in any of my classes, it's going to be a very wonderful learning process, right? And pardon me again, I don't have my slides complete. So most of the conversations is just me talking, right? I would appreciate if you have a note with you and a pen, so you can start taking note of some of my points, not just for implementation, but also for your own further research. What I will say that you may not, agree with, I would love you to take note of it. So on your own, you can do further research into that. Is that okay? All right, so let's get started, right? So what is GLP-1, right? GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide, right? One. And how it works is this: it does three things in the body. That's how it helps you to lose weight, right? The first thing that GLP-1 does is that it's it increases your fullness. That's the first thing GLP-1 does, right? The first thing it does when you start taking it is that it increases your fullness, right? So by so doing, when you eat even a tiny amount of food, you tend to get full. Right? That's the first working principle of GLP-1. The second one is that it slows down gastric emptying. So when you eat food, the food tends to stay longer in your stomach before it leaves, right? And then the third working principle of GLP-1 is that it reduces your appetite, which is the probably the most important function, right? So those are the three things GLP-1 does. The first is it increases your fullness. The second is that it reduces your, it slows down gastric emptying, which is the rate food leaves your stomach. And then the last one is that it reduces your appetite. Now, one thing I want you to take note of is this: GLP-1 does not burn fat. I want you to understand that GLP-1 does not go, when you start taking, for those on the injections right now, you have to understand that when you start taking those injections, It does not go into your body and burn fat. No, that is not how GLP-1 works, right? What it does instead is that these three things I mentioned, which is the first one, is increasing your level of fullness. So when you eat small amount of food, you tend to get filled faster, or you just a small portion of food and you're already full. That's the first one. Then the second one is that it slows down gastric emptying, which is the rate food leaves your stomach, right? Then the last one is that it reduces your appetite. Those are the only three ways that GLP-1 burns fat. It is not the drug that melts the fat, but these three effects is what makes the drug to work for weight loss. Originally, it was not intended for weight loss. Okay, it was intended for those who are diabetic. So for diabetic patients, there's a it's kind of the working principle behind it is such that when you take GLP-1 and you eat when you eat food, right? Food tends to most food tends to spike or increase the level of your blood sugar levels. So when you are on GLP-1, what happens is that it tends to bring it down to normal. That is the main function. That was what GLP-1 was originally intended for. Okay, so that effect on insulin, such that if you eat, say, any type of food, it tends to bring it down. But one of the side effects that was now noticed is that people that were on this GLP-1 that we are using to manage their diabetes were actually losing weight. Okay, so it became interesting, and people started asking the question, oh, if this is actually helping people lose weight, why can't we also give it to those that are obese, so they can start using it for their weight loss to help them lose weight? Okay, that was so the original intention wasn't for weight loss, but when they noticed the side effects, weight loss is actually a side effect, right, of treating diabetes with GLP-1. That's one of the side effects, weight loss, right? So before they now start giving up people who, which was like modified, right? It was not modified for weight loss. We now have different brands that are selling this for weight loss. So those are the points that I want you to understand first. So the question is this: if GLP-1 does not melt fat in your body, right? Instead, if what it does is those three things I've mentioned, I think I've mentioned even at once. Okay, number one is it makes you feel full faster. Number two is that it slows down the rate food leaves your stomach. And the last one is that it helps reduce your appetite. Okay. The question now is this: if these three things that I've mentioned are the core working principles of GLP-1, how come people are now using it or focusing on it as a means of weight loss? The question we are going to be answering tonight is this: is there a way we can actually activate this GLP-1 in the body so that you don't have to take it, so you don't have to go and spend money buying the injections, right? That is the question we're going to be answering tonight. But before we go ahead and answer that question, I want to make something clear tonight, which is this. First, you have to understand that even though GLP-1 is sold as injections these days, your body actually produces GLP-1. The same GLP-1 injection that you buy, initially it was first extracted from, I think it's from rodents. I can't remember how it was later. I know there's this particular animal that has a large quantity that it is being extracted from. But you have to understand that you yourself, as a human being, have GLP-1 in your body. Okay? You yourself, as a human being, have GLP-1 in your body. Okay? But the problem, why most people are struggling, if you are struggling with your appetite levels, you are struggling with your you tend to you tend to eat and not feel full. It means that there's now what we call GLP-1 deficiency, all right, or GLP-1 resistance. but it's mostly a deficiency anyway, not a resistance, because resistance means it is there, but your body is not listening to it. So it's actually a deficiency. Now the question is this: is there any way? What we are going, most of our conversations tonight is going to be based on how can we increase the level of GLP-1 in our body so that we can, tend to experience the same weight loss effects that people who are on the medications are experiencing. All right. It's very important because when I'm making this point clear to you, why this class is very important, I've said it earlier, is because now it looks like it's not possible to lose weight without one of those analogs, right? One of those injections and all that. And we just concluded a 21 days program where we had people losing 7.5 kg since 21 days, and they are not on GLP-1. But people that are on GLP-1 don't even lose that amount of weight in 21 days. You're having people who are losing 4 kgs, like they're losing weight and they are not on this drug. So it is actually possible. So what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight are the secrets that we implemented in the program, right? I'm going to be opening your eyes to the things that we implemented in the program that has helped these people achieve this tremendous weight loss without depending on GLP-1. I will show you how we activated the GLP-1 in their body so that they tend to feel full faster. That is the secret. If your weight loss will be 10 times easier, your weight loss journey will be 10 times easier if you can, number one, stop craving. If you can control your cravings, you are not constantly hungry. And number two, you eat and you feel full. If those two things can happen for you, your weight loss will be 10 times easier. You won't be struggling or fighting. You will see this as something stressful. So I'm going to be sharing with you the same exact principles that we apply in the program that helps people to manage their appetite, right, and their cravings, and helps them feel full even after consuming small amount of food. That's one of the biggest non-scale victories we celebrate in the program. There's nothing that gives me joy more than see. It's not even the weight loss. It's more when I read and see people who come and say, "Wow, I just, I don't feel like eating this amount of food today, so I don't finish this food, or I just ate once today or twice today because I felt full. I didn't feel hungry." There's something that gives me joy more than that because I know that is the program working at a deeper level. Okay, so tonight's class is going to be a wonderful class, and I hope you are going to find it. Those people that will benefit most are those that they struggle with cravings. If you're the type that struggle with cravings, you don't have control over your appetite. You're always constantly hungry. You eat and you don't feel full. You eat and after a few hours, you are craving for Fanta, for Coke, for biscuits. This class will be of immense importance to you. Okay, so stay tuned while we delve into most of the conversations we are going to be having tonight. All right. Okay. So if you are still with me on this, please let me know. I'm sure, let me be sure I'm not talking to myself. If you are still with me on this, let me know in the chat before we now get into the main conversations tonight. Let me know who is on board. Who is on board with me here tonight? Okay. All right. Someone just responded. Good, good, good. Okay, okay. All right, all right. So let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. All right. Okay, so now let's get started, right? We're not going to be focusing on GLP, but we're going to get into the main conversation tonight, which is how do you activate about how GLP-1 works and how you do that? No, I've told you that GLP-1 does three things in your body. It helps you, for those that are on the medications, right? It helps you feel full faster. It helps you with, it helps slow down the rate food leaves your stomach. And finally, it helps tonight, which is this: how do we activate the GLP-1 in your body, right? I've told you, you don't have to go on that medication, right? You don't have to, it's not necessary. You have GLP-1 in your body. The major difference is that the one you take, the Monjaro, whatever brand you are taking, you've heard about, the only difference between that particular one and the one your body produces is that those ones, the one they sell or the ones they give as injections to you, it can last for the effect of GLP-1. That GLP-1 can last for up to 7 days. So that is why you see people who are on GLP-1, they take it on weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. Because if you just take one shot of it, it can last you for up to 7 days. For 7 days, you are constantly full. For 7 days, you are not always thinking about food. There's what they call food noise, which is the constant thought of food in your brains. So it helps you control that thought for 7 days, or yes, 7 days. That's actually how long it lasts. But the one that your body naturally produces, the effect lasts for just a few seconds. Just tells you, okay, stop eating. You have had enough. You are good, and that is it. So if it's just the lifespan that differs. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just the one they sell. You're always full. That's why you see people that are on GLP-1, they're always trying to that one of the things the experience is vomiting. Because the problem with that is because number one, because of the effect of the drug, it feels like there's always food in their body. So when you try to now force food into your body, you feel like throwing up. Okay, and that is the cause of it. That's one of the side effects of the medication. But naturally, the way you are created as a person, the way the body is designed to work is such that effect of the effect of GLP-1 is not supposed to last for more than a couple of seconds in your body. That is the way your body is designed. Okay, so what we're going to be doing tonight is I'm going to be sharing with you the working principles of how to activate this GLP-1 in your body so you can start seeing results. Now, first things first, I want you to understand the most important thing, which is how your food reacts in your body. Okay, you have to understand that food is not just something you eat for energy. Let me explain that, right? When we look at food, we look at food as, okay, you are hungry and then you go ahead and eat food, right? Or you feel like you want to go to work in the morning and you feel like, okay, I'm going to work. Let me eat so that I don't get why at work. Okay. Then what I'm trying to explain or say is this: we always view food as something we eat for energy, but that is not the major reason why we eat food. And even if you are seeing food as something you eat for energy, the problem here is that most of what we do right now, the way our society is now engineered, right? It is such that we are not burning enough energy that we are getting from our food. Look, we're not in a modern society, right? The jobs have changed, right? The way we live our life have changed. There's now technology, there's now a new working lifestyle. There's a whole new things going on right now, which has made it impossible for us to be able to use the amount of energy we are getting from our food. I don't know, does that make sense? We and the society have look back in those days, right? Back in many years ago, the way it works is this, right? You wake up in the morning, you go and hunt, you go to farm, you are actually expending energy, and then you come back in the evening and you eat, or in the later in the morning rather, when the sun rises, you come back and you eat. That is the way it was back then. But the problem with why we are having serious issues in the society today is because number one, we have so much surplus of food. Like food is so surplus that if you want to eat 3 square meals today, you don't have to even step out of your house. All you need is your phone with you, and you order on child deck or this app or that app, and the food comes to your doorstep. So the problem we have is energy problem first, because right now people don't understand that they are eating way more than they are supposed to be eating. Times have changed, yet we are eating as if we are farmers. We are eating as if we go out to hunt every day. So we have an energy problem. So it is high time first you stop seeing food as something you eat to have energy. That is one point I'm trying to make, because you are not burning the energy. The energy is just sitting in your body, and that is a very big problem. Why? Because if you have energy sitting in your body and it is not being used, it gets converted to one. If you are a science student, you must have learned this in school, that energy can be created, or it can either be created or destroyed, but be transformed from one form to another, right? That's what we are taught in science class. We cannot create energy, we cannot destroy energy, but it must be transformed from one form to another. Now, if you eat food and it goes into your body and you are not able to use up all the energy from that food, it must be converted to another form of what energy, and it could be even a disease. Oh my God, you don't understand. Like most of the diseases we are fighting in our society today is because of we are consuming so much and we are using so little. So it's being converted to other forms of issues. We are having issues with we're having PCOS these days, we're having diabetes these days, we're having high cholesterol, we're having this, we're having that. It is because the food we are eating is not being used. The energy is just sitting there and is being converted to all these problems. So that is one thing I want you to understand. Now, the way I want you to start seeing food is as information. Why? Because the food you are eating right now is what is deciding a whole lot of the functions that goes on in your body. Okay. So someone said network is disturbing me. Okay, please let me know. Is it my network? Let me know if I have to switch. All right. Please let me know, is it my network? Let me switch quickly. Um, please let me know in the chat. Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's not mine. All right. So let's continue then. That's great. So the reason why I want you to change your perspective about food before we jump into the class proper is because the problem these days is that there's something we call hyper palatability. And it's going to be, I understand that most people work in the food industry. Most of my clients are, people that work in the food industry, but it is what it is, right? There's something called palatability. And you have to understand, if you can understand this clearly tonight, you will not see food the same way again. Now, we are now in a situation or in a generation where most of the foods that we have around us are ultra processed. It's no more a joke, right? Most of the foods we eat are ultra processed foods. And that's a very big issue. And the reason why that is because of these foods are not just ultra processed, but the way these foods are designed is such that it is not foods, and those foods are not designed to make you feel full. Let me repeat it. Most of the ultra processed foods that most of the foods that you are eating, especially the ultra processed ones, are not designed to make you feel full. That is not the goal of the company. The company is not creating, is not bringing out those foods so for you to eat and then you feel full. If they do that, it is their own detriment, and it is understandable. If you eat and you feel full, you will not go. You will not. Let's be more practical here. So let's use an example. Say you eat, you get cookies, for instance. Let's use cookies, right? And if you have a bag of chips, whatever, right? And you have some, when you have some of those chips or that cookies or biscuits, whatever, and you feel full, what happens is that you stop reaching for more. And once you stop reaching for more, you will keep the pack for later. And by keeping the pack for later, who suffers? It is the company that produced that biscuit or that cookies or that chips. Why? Because now you are not going to buy another one because that one you just ate made you feel full. So what they do is that they design these biscuits such that, or these things such that you keep eating and keep wanting more. They don't create satisfaction. So that has really configured our brains to stop to stop feeling satisfied when we eat food. That's the problem with ultra processed food. So it's not just the fact that the foods are ultra processed, it is what it does to your brain. It changes the way your brain works such that you're no longer able to tap into that state of fullness from foods. To better explain to you, I will use a smoke detector, right? If you have a knowledge of a smoke detector, especially those that are overseas, I'm seeing some persons join us from Canada, US, and the rest of them. You must have an experience with smoke detector, right? If you are in a place that have a smoke detector and you keep frying things around that place, things that doesn't trigger it, but you cause smoke to rise, but it doesn't just rise enough to trigger that smoke detector to go off. And you keep using this over time, that smoke detector will not be able to detect even when bigger smoke comes up. That is the one thing about smoke, and that is the way the human brains work. When you keep eating foods that does not help you trigger that point of fullness in your body, what happens is that even when you eat other kinds of food, you don't tend to get filled. Your brain does not, because it's your brain that actually tells you when you are full. Is this making sense? So when you because of exposure, constant exposure to food that does not bring about fullness, over time, your body you don't have control over your appetite again, right? Your brain stops responding. So that is one thing you have to take note of here. And it is very important because I've told you, most of these foods that we are eating here are not designed to make you feel full. They are designed to make you want more. That is why you cannot say, oh my God, I just overate eggs. You cannot overeat egg. You cannot boil eggs and you overeat them. It doesn't work that way. But guess what you can overeat? You can go and drink a full pack of juice. You can go and have a full pack of chips. You can go and have a full pack of biscuit. You can eat, if they leave, you can have a full loaf of bread. Those kinds of foods are designed to achieve that goal. They don't bring about fullness. They don't bring about fullness. Your brain does not record that fullness. That's the problem. That is why you have to stop seeing food as what you eat for energy. You have to start seeing it as information, because what you are eating is what is controlling your outcomes. Okay? Is this class making sense so far? Let me know. Let me know so we can proceed. We have plenty other things to touch tonight. Is it making sense? Let me know in the chat, then we can proceed, right? Okay, so Now let's get into the class proper now. So we've looked at food. Now let's talk about how then do we use, because the most important thing I want you to understand is this. It is your food that you are going to use to activate your GLP-1, your natural GLP-1. You have to understand your food at a deeper level for you to be able to activate your natural GLP-1. So now I want to be sharing with you some of the tips, right? That will help you a lot, right, to activate your GLP-1, right? Now, the first step is this, right? This is where I now start writing, right? Now, the first step is this. You have to first make your brain to stop feeling like food is scarce and start understanding that food is abundant, that there's food is not running. That's a soft way to put it, right? You have to make your brain understand that food is not running, food is abundant. There's so much food. So how do you make your brain to understand that there is abundance of food? You have to first of all make sure, if you are very new to intermittent fasting, don't go and jump straight into it, because that is one way. If you jump straight into intermittent fasting, you are going to struggle a lot if you don't have your appetite under control, if you have not activated your body's natural GLP-1 and you now jump straight into intermittent fasting, you are going to struggle a lot. So the first thing I want you to do is this, right? If if you have not started doing this intermittent fasting yet, right? You don't start. If you are strong, if you are doing it and you are struggling, or you are doing OMAD and you are struggling, the first thing I want you to start doing first is to tell your brain that, look, food don't, because those things send the message to the brain that, look, food is scarce. That's why when you kind of eat, you tend to overeat, because your brain is feeling like, oh my God, let me eat now that I'm seeing the food. So when the time for scarcity comes, right, I won't be worried. Okay. So one of the ways you can do that is to stop intermittent fasting. For now, there's a way I will show you the way to go about it. You have to stop doing intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is an eating pattern where you kind of skip breakfast, you take only liquids, and you probably eat in the afternoon, and then you eat dinner, and that's it for the day, right? It can also mean for OMAD, those that eat OMAD is still a type of intermittent fasting. Okay. I want you to stop doing all those things for now. What I want you to start doing is this. I want you to start having a breakfast that comprises of, you have your protein, you have your healthy fat, and then you have your protein, healthy fat, and a source of fiber. Very important. I'm going to give you examples anyway. Now, why is it that I want you to stop doing this? Why is it that I want you to stop doing intermittent fasting and start doing this? I'm a lover of it. I've been doing intermittent fasting for years. It's not just for weight loss, right? It does a whole lot for your body, right? So yes, when I say she's not doing intermittent fasting at the very beginning, especially if you are struggling with cravings, if you are struggling to get your appetite under control, or you are already doing intermittent fasting and you are struggling to, you are still battling with the constant cravings. The reason why I want you to stop doing that for now is because the message you are sending to your brain is that food is scarce. So that is why whenever you are eating, you tend to overeat. Whenever you are when you're doing intermittent fasting and you eat, you tend to overeat. That's because of the message you are sending to your brain. So first, I want you to stop doing intermittent fasting and instead have a healthy breakfast that comprises of um, protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Right? Don't do carbs. Don't try to include carbohydrates. I'll give you a reason for that later. Now, why is this important? When you start eating in this pattern, you cannot be able to send that message to your brain that, look, there's food. Food is not a problem. You can do this for a week, and by so doing, your brain will now relax and it will start seeing that, okay, there's food. It's not like there's no food. So It's not like there's famine. I don't have to, I don't have to, I don't have to make this person eat so much. All right. Now, why protein? Why healthy fat? Why fiber? Right? Protein is the most important thing that your body needs on a day-to-day basis. And when your body don't get protein from your food, when you eat and you don't give your body enough protein, what happens is that it starts breaking down your muscles, your lean muscles. That is one problem with GLP-1. People that are on GLP-1 tend to lose their lean muscles because they can't eat enough protein, they can't eat enough food. I told you one of the side effects is that if you're on GLP-1 medications or you have someone who have been on it, you already know what I'm talking about. You should try to eat much. If it's working for you anyway, it doesn't work for everybody. But if you're on GLP-1 and it's working for you, one of the side effects is that if you try to eat, all right, if you try to eat kind of the required quantity you're supposed to eat, you have issues with you start feeling like throwing up. Okay, so that is why most people on GLP-1, because of one of the side effects is vomiting, right? And the reason for that is because of when you try to your stomach is always having food. That's the whole point of GLP-1. So it slows down the rate food leaves your stomach, right? So when you try to now force food down, you kind of feel like throwing up. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is this, right? When you start eating protein, when you start eating enough protein, that's one thing that tells your body that look, food is no longer scarce because protein is what your body needs protein. Your body needs protein. Protein is one thing that it doesn't store. I've told this before. Your body does not store protein. Your body stores carbohydrate as glycogen and then excess gets converted to fat. Your body stores health fat, of course, as fat. Excess fat is stored as fat in your body. But you see protein, there's no storage for protein. You cannot eat excess protein. It's not possible, right, to eat protein excess because your body does not store it. If there's anything like excess, it takes it out. You take it out of your body through urination. You urinate it out. So there's no excess storage of protein in your body. So because of that, whenever you are not eating enough protein, your body starts going to break your muscle mass, and you are always hungry because your body cannot function without protein. That is why and protein is very important anyway. Protein is very important because it does a whole lot of functions in your body. One of the things that happens to you every day as a human being is that the cells of your body kind of breaks down every single day. So as your body is breaking down its cells, it needs blocks, they call it blocks, to rebuild those things that are being broken down, right? And it is protein that provides that building blocks. It is not carbohydrate, it's not fat, it's protein. So your body can, that's why if someone is if you stay away from food for quite a long time, right? People, if there's famine, right? If there's famine and you don't eat food for up to 2 weeks, for some people, 2 weeks, yes, right? I think for some persons up to 1 week, just depends on how much fast stores you have. What will kill you is not hunger. It's not hunger that will kill you actually. What will kill the person that did eat food for a week, for 2 weeks, is infections, right? It's infections. And the reason why infection will kill you is because your body doesn't have what it takes to fight them, right? So you die of pneumonia. The person could die of pneumonia and those kind of stuff if you are in that kind of a place where there is famine and you are not having enough food. So by eating protein, you tell your body that look, there are building blocks. That's what protein does for you. Then you take your healthy fat and then you take your fiber. That's the first principle to activating GLP-1, right? Now, once after a week of doing this, now let me tell you a secret, right? This is one of the most important part of the class, right? In that your breakfast, that's when you're eating as breakfast, okay? Make sure that you are eating something bitter, a bit bitter, not something seriously bitter, but something, in fact, every day, make sure that you eat something a bit bitter. This was something we applied very well in the last edition of Rapid Reset Cohort 1. We applied it. Look at what we did, right? And for most people, for breakfast, we did something. We are asking people to take garden eggs and garden eggs and a healthy fat. The healthy fat for them was peanuts. You can either that's granite or almond nut or whatever nut. That's the healthy fat included. About 20 gram worth of it, right? 20 grams of peanuts or what is it called again? Peanuts or almond nut or depending on nut you can lay your hands on, right? And then we ask them to take 2 to 3 eggs, right? And the reason why we did this, people, what we don't, one thing we don't do, one thing we don't go deep to do is to explain to you why you're eating like why we prepare a meal plan like this, right? So let me tell you, the reason why we're doing this or why we did that was very simple. You see that garden eggs. Look, there's what we call receptors, right? I don't know how to explain it, but there's what we call receptors. And the same receptors that produces GLP-1 in your body is the same receptors that those receptors can also be triggered by eating bitter foods. If you start eating things that are a bit bitter, something as simple as garden eggs, if you start having them every day as your breakfast, you can interchange it, but make sure you're having that's a very good source of fiber, by the way, right? So when I say you have your protein, your healthy fat, and your what and your fiber, that garden eggs is a very good source of fiber, right? And apart from it being a good source, it helps you to activate GLP-1. Go and research what will happen to your body if you eat garden eggs for 5 days or 6 days or 7 days. You will see that if I don't try it, if you are always struggling with cravings, start eating garden eggs for breakfast. Eat garden eggs, not just garden eggs. Make sure you have it with a side of healthy fat. It could be nut, it could be avocado pear, right? Avocado, right? Very good stuff. You can have half of it. You have to, when it comes to the fat, you must, of course, beware of your consumption because if you go and overdo it, it's kind of it could just because of how heavy calorie crude they are calorie dense. So you must make sure that you measure it carefully. So you can either have nuts or you can have avocado pear, like half of it, and then have it with 2 eggs, or if you have grilled chicken, grilled fish, add it. If you eat this way for 7 days, just try to mix things up. One thing you are going to notice is that by the end of the 7 days, but before the end of the 7 days, you are no longer, you cannot start eating, you can you can skip breakfast and you won't even feel like eating it. It's very important because when we did for the first week, right, we that was probably what we were having for breakfast. And the interesting part was that when we now entered into the second week of the program, most people automatically started feeling full. You are no longer eating breakfast. People were now, their appetite levels have now normalized, that they were able to go through their day without having to crave for breakfast. Why? Because of what bitter foods does for you. Now, apart from garden eggs, this is so if you can't pick anything from this class and you understand this and you apply it, you are going to experience tremendous change in your appetite levels. So this is the most important part of the class. The other strategies I'll be sharing with you, but this one, you should pick it up and run with it. Okay? If you cannot do garden eggs, then try to eat, if I want to make this work very well, try to eat bitter leaf soup at least once a week. My God, this is going to, it's going to do, look, the problem we are having these days is that people go on and on and on for months without eating anything bitter. And yet you are complaining that your appetite levels are dysregulated. You cannot stay without eating sweet foods because you are you're not eating foods that are a bit bitter. And that is a very big problem. That's a very big problem. Most people don't understand this. That is a very big problem. So one thing I want to start doing, one thing I want to start practicing this from now going forward is try to eat something bitter before the end of the week, at least 3 times or 4 times. And if you are struggling with your cravings, if you are fighting cravings, you are fighting what's it called now? You are always hungry, you are always doing this, you're always doing that. If those things are your problem, make sure that you do it every day for the next 7 days. I repeat, have garden eggs, very important for your breakfast. Have a healthy fat. It could be nuts, it could be avocado pear, very important. And then eat your protein. It could be something as simple as boiled eggs. It could be something as simple as grilled fish, grilled chicken, wherever you can afford. Okay, go ahead and eat it. For the next 7 days, right, you will experience tremendous change in your level of cravings, right? And I hope you're going to testify to that. So that is one thing you need to start doing. That alone will help you a lot when it comes to weight loss. Now, look at by the time you are done with doing this for the next 7 days, then you can now start practicing intermittent fasting. Why? You're no more doing intermittent fasting because you are trying to lose weight. You are supposed to be doing intermittent fasting because you are no longer hungry when you wake up in the morning. Does this make sense? You don't start doing intermittent fasting because I'm trying to lose weight. No, you now start doing intermittent fasting. If you go ahead and do that, you're going to struggle. You're going to see it as suffering. And over time, you are going to fall off the bandwagon and go back to eating excessively. Start doing intermittent fasting because you now wake up and you don't feel hungry anymore. That is the right way to start doing intermittent fasting. Some persons OMAD is not trending, people are not jumping on the bandwagon, they are doing OMAD. After a while, you go back to what you are doing, and then all the results you got, you do it, and then you're back to square one. Why? Because you got it all wrong. You don't start doing OMAD because you are trying to lose weight. Okay, I want to lose weight, I'll start doing OMAD. That's a very wrong reason to start doing OMAD. OMAD, you're doing OMAD because, okay, I don't feel hungry as much anymore. So, and the problem with even people that do OMAD is that most people don't even eat enough protein to sustain their OMAD journey. You are doing OMAD and you're eating, when you want to break your fast, you're eating 2 boiled eggs and vegetable soup, and then you sleep and you think, look, you are losing your muscles. If for those who are on the program, on the day they ate OMAD, because we designed the program to be beginner friendly for this last edition. The day they ate OMAD, you saw that we actually specified that this is an OMAD meal, so you have to elevate your protein. So you are eating more protein than you're supposed to eat on a regular day. And that is one thing most people don't understand. They just jump into OMAD and you start starving yourself. And at the end of the day, two things are bound to happen, of course. You either stop losing weight at some point, even though you're doing OMAD, or you start overeating carbs. When you want to break your fast, start overeating and you start seeing poor results. So the first thing, you look at how you go about it. Number one, you start eating your breakfast. Okay, OMAD. Someone is asking what is OMAD. OMAD means 1 meal a day. So it is a kind of intermittent fasting strategy where you're eating just 1 meal a day. That's what is OMAD. So look at how you go about it. Let me come again. The next 7 days, try to eat breakfast and make sure you include garden eggs in your breakfast. For your lunch, have bitter leaf soup if you can. Very, very wonderful. It will help you. What it will do is that it will help your body to start producing GLP-1. That is what it will do for you. It will help your body to start producing GLP-1. And when your body starts producing GLP-1 naturally, you will no longer feel hungry as much as you used to. And when you stop feeling hungry as much as you used to, then you can now start doing intermittent fasting of 18:6. So you wake up in the morning and you don't have to eat breakfast. And the reason you're not eating breakfast is because you are no more hungry as you used to, right? And then, depending on your days, you can now start incorporating OMAD, 1 meal a day. So some days you now do OMAD, and some days you are eating 2 meals a day. But on the days you are eating OMAD, you are also making sure that you are eating enough protein. That is the most important. If you don't do that, let me tell you what, if you don't eat enough protein, why doing OMAD? And of course, you see weight loss as something that is a journey, and you say, "Oh, I've lost weight. I want to go back to my lifestyle." You are going to go back to your lifestyle, and you will gain the weight that you have lost, and you are going to gain even more, and you will struggle to lose it again. You are going to so struggle. Why are you going to struggle? Because you have lost so much lean muscle mass. Why are you doing that OMAD in the wrong way? You have lost so much lean muscle mass. Your muscle is your metabolism. When you see someone that have a fast metabolism or that have a slow metabolism, it is your muscle that is your metabolism, because your muscle is the biggest source of glucose disposal in your entire body. I did a class about this a couple of months ago, right? I explained how your muscle is when it comes to you losing weight, the most precious thing that you must keep to heart, right? Something that you don't joke with is your lean muscle mass. That is what is your metabolism. So by the time you go and lose weight, you start being OMAD, start losing your muscle mass, you are getting yourself in problem, because if you stop that weight loss journey that you are on, because people see it as a journey, don't see it as something you are doing for a long time. Once you stop it and you go back to eating as you normally would, you're going to gain all the weight back and you are going to struggle to lose it. Moving on. So that's how I started. Now I've told you how to start doing intermittent fasting the right way. Stop jumping into OMAD. Stop jumping into, don't wake up one morning and still say I want to start eating OMAD because you see it trending online. People are talking about it. Don't jump into doing, if not, you are going to see your weight loss journey as suffering. Something you just suffer, let me just enjoy it. Can't wait. And when you leave, when you get to, if God helps you, you get your desired result, you go back to square one after a couple of months. Why? Because you don't understand how to make use of the tools that you had. You abused it. Right? So it's very important you understand that. Now, let's talk about, we have talked about your food, how to structure your breakfast. The most important thing I've talked about is eating bitter foods, right? Okay, can I boil the garden eggs? Yes, you can boil it, yeah, you can boil the garden eggs, but I just feel I don't think you can boil it. Yeah, some persons make garden egg sauce. It's also wonderful. Don't go and start. The most important thing is that when you're eating that bitter food, don't eat it with carbohydrates. Don't eat it with carbohydrate foods, right? Yeah, so you can boil it, you can, but don't eat it with carbohydrate foods, right? Make sure you're eating it with just um, that healthy and protein, and then healthy source of fats. That's what you need. Don't use peanut butter. Yes, because again, some persons eat garden eggs and they use peanut butter to eat it. Please don't try it. Don't try it. Don't eat peanut butter. You don't need peanut butter, please. I know I don't know. Eat eat your granules, your peanuts, eat it, but don't eat peanut butter, and don't ever buy. If I let's talk about that one, we're going to talk about that one in the next session, right? I think we are done with that. If you have any more questions around what I've said, you can ask, and I will just answer some before we continue, because I won't answer any questions at the end of the class. That's one problem. By the time we are done, it's already late, and I won't just have time for questions. So if you have questions, you can ask, and we can keep progressing. All right. Okay. For those just joining us, I sincerely apologize about the quality of my of the display. I kind of lost access to my device didn't boot up. So I'm just managing this low-end device for this class tonight. So please pardon the quality of the display and all that. Just manage it for tonight. Next time is gonna be amazing, trust me. Okay. All right, so let's continue now. Let's continue. Mm, okay. All right. So now let's talk about something important, which I want to really spend some time talking about, right? You see something. If you are the type of person that you struggle with cravings, you struggle with having self-control around foods, you are the type of person that you just have it's just like you don't have control over your appetite, right? The best advice I can give you tonight is this: temptation is best avoided than overcome. Let me come again. Temptation is best avoided than overcome. What do I mean? You see, what you call hunger, hunger have different types. There are about 4 types of hunger. Okay, several questions are coming up now. I can't go back to them. I've started these points. Maybe when I've made this point, I can go back to the questions. Okay. Now, there are several types of hunger. Hunger is not just one type of hunger. We have the physical hunger. We have emotional hunger. We have environmental hunger, and we have habit hunger. Remember the first point and what I said, like, told you temptation is best avoided and overcome. Let me explain the different types of hungers for you, right? We have physical hunger. Physical hunger is the only true form of hunger. That's when you are actually hungry. And how do you know that you are physically hungry? It comes and goes in waves. So you cannot just feel hungry and just feel like eating urgently. There's nothing like that. That's emotional hunger. Physical hunger comes, it comes, you feel it, and then it leaves, then comes back again, you feel it, and it goes. So that is how a normal functioning person feels hunger. That is the only true form of hunger. Now we have emotional hunger. Emotional hunger is the type of hunger you feel when you just want to use food to probably kill boredom, or you are someone says something bad to you, something hurtful, and you just want some form of consolation or some form of comfort, and you just want to use food to comfort yourself. That's emotional hunger. That is not really, you're not really hungry. Even it looks like you need food at that point to feel all right. It is purely emotional hunger. Then we have environmental hunger. Environmental hunger is kind of hunger you feel when you are going to work in the morning and you pass through the shop of the person that is making akra, and all of a sudden you want to eat akra. Emotional hunger, environmental hunger is kind of hunger you feel when you perceive the smell of food and you become hungry. That is emotional hunger. That is like environmental hunger, right? That is you are not really hungry. The only reason you are hungry is because of what you just perceived. Okay. Now, habit hunger is the kind of hunger that you feel you have to eat because it is 4 p.m. You have to eat because it is time. It is habit. It is habit. You are not really hungry. Now, the reason I said temptation is best avoided and overcome if you are trying to lose weight is because if you have a bottle of granite at home, if you have a bottle of granite, that's peanut, at home, there's a high chance that you are going to devour that peanut than if you don't have it at home. Because by having that granite at home, you have just created a room for environmental hunger. Do you understand the point I'm trying to make here? So it is better you avoid temptation. Don't go and say, look, let me give you an instance right now. If you come back home from a hot sun, right? The sun is scorching hard, and you come back home and you open your fridge to take water because you are thirsty, right? You're thirsty and you open your fridge to drink water. And what you see is a chilled bottle of Coke. Ah, you see a chilled bottle of Coke right there. At that point, I don't care how powerful or how strong you are. Anyway, some persons can overcome, right? But most people will go for that chilled bottle of Coke because at that point your brain is not thinking clearly. That is not that you cannot make logical decision at that point that you are seeing that bottle of Coke. So you are going to grab that Coke and you are going to drink it. Why are you drinking that Coke? Because you are trying to what? You have been set up. You have just set up a room for environmental hunger. You're going to fall for it. But if you don't have that Coke at home and you open the fridge and all you have is water, fruit, and whatever, you are bound to take your water before you go for any other thing. Temptation is best avoided than overcome. If if your favorite snack is pizza and you are watching a movie, you're watching a TV and all of a sudden an advert pops of you know of pizza, there's a high chance that this weekend, this Saturday, you are going to have pizza. If you saw that advert in the course of the week, there is a high chance that before the end of the week, you are going to have pizza. Why? Environmental hunger. So environmental hunger is not the people have different struggles, but most of these types of hunger you can control, right? You can easily control. So stop setting yourself up for failure and complaining when you fail. So I know one of the problems, one of the questions that I used to come across when having a consultation call with a client, and they start complaining about how they have to have something at home, a snack at home because they have kids, and these kids tends to eat snacks and stuff like that. So the way what I tell them is this: even if you have kids and um, who you want to, of course, you want to get them snacks, of course, the way the society is going these days is such that um, you have to have those things for you have to give your kids those things to show that you love them, right? So if you don't have those things at home, it will look like your kids, you are not showing them enough love because, of course, one of the ways we show our kids love is by getting them what they want. So you kind of have those things at home because of your kids. So I tell them, look, don't stock up on healthy foods at home. You are teaching these kids that it is right, it is nice, it's wonderful to have those things at home in large quantity. And I wrote a message, I sent a message a couple of days ago about how people who think that disease run in their family is not actually the disease that runs in their family. Instead, it is the pattern that runs in your family. It's not even the disease. There's nothing like, oh, we have high cholesterol in our family, we have obesity in our family, we have what's it called, high blood pressure. What it is a pattern. It is actually a pattern that runs in your family. So if you kind of make it okay for your kids to have those things at home, and they grow up and it also to them growing up, they have grown up to they have get to see those things as something that is normal to have at home. So growing up, it will still be extended to them, and they will still have to end up having those things at home. And at the end of it, start struggling with what you are currently struggling with right now. Why? Because you have created a pattern that they are following. All right. So we are kind of time is going now. So but I wanted to talk. I think it's best we create a separate class where I go into explain to you the real concept of how most of the problems we are faced with today in our society is there are those things that we are orchestrating by ourselves, that they are the result of the work of our hands. Okay, but then let's move on, right? So we don't dwell on that. But just know that it is best you keep things that you know are your weak points out of sight. Out of sight is out of mind. Okay, so make sure you keep those things out of sight. Long term, right? It will help you kind of have that control over your what, over your eating patterns, right? So there's a point I want to point out here. Give me a second. Okay, okay. All right. So most of it, I've told you about how to. Okay, I've told you about how to. Okay, right. Let's continue. So we've talked about the first step. The first step to having of to producing activating your body's natural GLP-1 is eating bitter foods, right? At least twice weekly. The second step is to make sure you have a healthy breakfast if you are the type that is struggling. I've talked about why it is important to avoid carbohydrate foods in the morning, right? It sends the wrong signal to your brain. Okay. I've talked about you making sure that you are not keeping foods that are tempting around you, right? So those points have been mentioned. We are going to other stuff, but let me answer a few questions here before we progress. Okay, okay, all right. So someone said, can a TTC person do OMAD or skip breakfast? So can a TTC means someone that is trying to conceive. So can someone who is trying to conceive skip breakfast or do OMAD? One of the wonderful things that you are going to experience in your life is if you start. Look, I've had several testimonies. I've had several testimonies of people who incorporated intermittent fasting into their lifestyle, and instantly within a couple of weeks they took in, they conceived. So it works all the time. It works all the time. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I have the evidence. I have more, more than at least I've been doing this for the past 6 years, right? And one last thing I will do is to base my conclusion on something that is not scientifically backed, and I have not pressed, I've not tested, I've not seen. So you can 100% do intermittent fasting. You can 100% do OMAD if you are trying to conceive. But once you conceive, stop doing it. Why? Because you are going to have there's this process your body undergoes when you get pregnant, right? First of all, you have to understand you're trying to grow a human being inside you. So it is normal for you to eat more than you require, especially your proteins anyway, because that is what you need to grow your person that you are trying to grow inside you. Okay, so it is very important to eat enough protein afterwards, and you try to eat, your body will make you. You don't have to fight it. That one you can't even fight it. your body will automatically make you to start eating more than you used to once you get pregnant. That is one of the ways what happens when you get. But until that happens, 100%, I recommend that you incorporate intermittent fasting, that you incorporate OMAD strategically if you're looking to take in, right? Works all the time. Oats protein, that's it. Okay. Okay. I hope I'm clear, right? If you can hear me, let me know in the chat, please. Something just happened to my network. I just hope I'm still on. So oats are most, but then please, this topic of oats, right? Please, I will advise stop buying instant oats. I know it's cheap. That's the cheapest form of oats, but there's no difference between. I see people who eat oats every morning and they are struggling to see results on their weight loss journey, and that's because they are eating instant oats, which almost is like eating rice or in some cases bread in the morning. You don't jump from frying pan to fire. It doesn't make sense. So make sure you're buying. I know we cannot still cut oats is very expensive. Okay, but even if you can, right, buy what's it called? Buy rolled oats. Rolled oat is better than steel cut oat. It's better than the instant oats. And try not to have oats as breakfast. We kind of we stopped including oats as breakfast on our meal plans, and that is because most people tend to abuse it. So please, I know oats is trendy and people make it look as if you can't live without oats, but oats is not any more different from rice and whatever. So please stop eating oats for breakfast if you want to have oats for breakfast, right? If you stop eating oats for breakfast, it's very important. You can have it for lunch, you can have it for dinner sometimes, but mostly lunch. Just don't have it for breakfast. So someone asked Rosemary Maxwell, she asked a question here, looking on the screen. She asked, are you eating the garden egg with the avocado together? Yes, 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 you are doing that. So you have the fastest way, because of my clients are people who are always on the go, they're always trying to go to work in the morning. So what I do is that they have three boiled eggs or two boiled eggs with either nuts or avocado pear, and then they have it with some garden eggs, right? Very important, garden eggs, right? That's it. Now, eating something bitter. Someone is asking, eating something bitter, can one take bitter cola? Bitter cola is not is it doesn't it helps anyway. Yeah, eating bitter cola helps, but not something you can't say you are eating it as a meal. Yeah, drink bitter cola once in a while, kind of it's helpful. I recommend that, right? It's helpful, but again, try it's strong, right? It's strong. I think it contains some good levels of caffeine. Let me see, bitter cola caffeine. Let me see. I think it contains caffeine. Yeah, so it contains caffeine, which is a bit of a problem to, so you don't want to overconsume it. That's my problem with bitter cola, but so you can't have it as a meal. Once in a while, you can chew it. It's fine, but not as a meal. Very important because of the caffeine, but though it's still natural caffeine, just have to be careful about the caffeine. Now, coach, you talked about intermittent fast. I don't know. I think you mentioned intermittent. I think she means intermittent fasting. Coach, you talked about intermittent fasting, OMAD, what of ADF, right? So ADF stands for alternate day fasting, right? Alternate day fasting is actually is wonderful, right? I it's an advanced when you are trying to do intermittent fasting and when you are doing ADF, I will not. They are different. These things are they are protocols. I don't know how to explain to you. They are used to achieve specific goals or results. APF is not necessarily designed for weight loss per se, right? Because number one, it's not sustainable. You cannot do alternative fasting for a long time. Unlike intermittent fasting, I've not eaten breakfast, I've not had breakfast for years, right? And OMAD is not something you can really sustain. It's something you can apply once in a while. Why? Because most people who do it don't get enough protein. So for you not to lose muscle mass, you have to be strategic with that. Now, alternate day fasting is when I talking about 36-hour fast, 48-hour fast, right? And the benefit of that is when you talk about is keeping my mind. So if you want to, there's a process I'm trying to remember. It's something I'm very familiar with, but I don't know why it's not coming to my head right now. So it is if you want to activate a process where you kind of start eating up dead cells in your body, apoptosis. I think it's apoptosis. Yeah, apoptosis. Yeah. If you want to activate apoptosis, that is where you now start applying things like intermittent fasting alternative fasting, sorry. That's why you start applying alternative fasting. But if your goal is just to lose weight, right? If you're trying to, of course, intermittent fasting have other benefits, right? You can just stick to that and you do alternative fasting once a month. I won't encourage it to be done more than twice a month. All right. I won't encourage it to be done more than twice a month. So you can do it once, you can do it twice a month, right? Alternate fasting is okay, right? And it can be done twice a month, right? If you want. And it is also different from extended day fasting, which can even run up to 3 days. Okay, so it's all right. It's something. It's not beginner friendly. It's not about people who are struggling with their cravings, people who are struggling with their appetite. You don't go and jump into doing alternative fasting at this point. You don't do that. So the best you can do is once you have gained control over your appetite, you now start doing intermittent fasting and then OMAD strategically. So our oat protein, I think we responded to that. What can we have for breakfast apart from Ghana eggs plus nuts plus 2 or 3 boiled eggs? So for the next 7 days, right, you can switch it up. You can switch Ghana eggs for the problem with cucumber does not really is not really a good substitute for Ghana eggs, right? But it could have been better if you and people don't when people and I people peel the skin of cucumber, which is very weird, right? Most people will go ahead and peel the skin. So yeah, cucumber can replace the garden eggs. The nut can be replaced by avocado, right? So that is it. And then of course, three to boiled eggs, anything that is mostly protein, pure protein. Talk about things like your chicken breast, things like what's it called now? Yeah, those things can replace your eggs. So it mustn't be that particular pattern. All right. But this is a very simple meal you can have. I know it can get tiring, it can get boring. Yes, it can get boring nonetheless. But then what you can do is to try to mix things up. I want you to have the garden eggs. The garden eggs are one of the most important food that kind of activates GLP-1, which is what this class is primarily about. So the garden egg there is doing something important for you. So if you can chew the garden eggs and then have some, if you can eat your omelets, vegetable omelets, and then have garden eggs afterwards, that's also fine. I just want you to have that garden eggs. It's important. It's important. Now, okay. Can I take coffee with milk for breakfast and lunch and eat dinner as OMAD? No, that is not OMAD. That's not OMAD at all. If you're taking coffee with milk, you have just broken your fast. If you are taking coffee and milk breaks your fast. And I don't know the kind of coffee you are talking about, but I assume you are talking about, pure coffee, not coffee with creamer and the rest of them. So if you're taking coffee with milk, you have just broken your fast. So you're no more doing OMAD, right? OMAD means that you are eating one meal a day. And that meal also, whatever you're eating prior to eating that one meal a day, must have zero calories, right? It must have 0 calories, and very importantly, it must not lead to a rise in your blood sugar levels. But the milk you are having there with the coffee, again, I don't know the type of coffee you're talking about, but if it's raw coffee, that's okay. But if you add milk to it, you have just broken your fast. So you're no more doing OMAD. And it's a problem. Why is this a problem? I have to just talk about this for a minute. When you eat this way, when you take the coffee and you add milk to it, you are no more fasting. And if you are eating like this and you are not fasting, you are starving. It becomes a problem because you are going to be constantly hungry throughout the day, because now you are not even doing intermittent fasting, because now your brain is your body is not seeing it like you are fasting, because of course you are giving it very tiny amount of calories that it can't do anything without. So your body is going to be angry with you, and you are going to spend the rest of the day constantly hungry, craving, and feeling like, I don't want to use the word, but then you're going to be you won't be feeling, the feeling won't be good, right? So that is what is going to happen. So that's a very big problem, right? If you want to do intermittent fasting, do intermittent fasting. If you're not doing intermittent fasting and you are doing any mistake at all, you're making all these kind of mistakes, right? You are not doing intermittent fast. And if you're not doing intermittent fasting, you are starving yourself. You are not getting the benefit that comes with intermittent fasting. But when you go and make any mistake of, for example, adding milk to a coffee and taking it, and then spending the whole day, you are not getting any benefit from intermittent fasting. And again, you are not even eating. So you are driving your body crazy by just doing that. Your body doesn't know. It doesn't understand what you're doing. What the heck are you doing to me? That is what your body is going to be asking you. So most of the day, for the rest of the day, you're going to be, feeling hungry. You're going to be feeling all those stuff that makes it look as if you are not in your best. You are not your best. You are not your best self. You're going to be feeling easily irritated and stuff like that. So that's not good. Do fasting, if you want to do fasting, and do it right. Very important to do it right. All right. Temptation is best avoided and overcome. Very important. When you doing that, that's good. So I'm joining from. Can we take sugar-free Coke? No. Um, I don't recommend taking sugar-free Cokes. And the reason is very simple. So there's what we call aspartate, and there's what we call aspartame, and the rest of them. Right? Those things are not really, there's 0 calories. Let's not go into that, because that will derail the conversation a lot, because that is a whole different conversation altogether. Can cocoa drink be taken without milk and sugar sometimes? It's very, very wonderful. This is very important. Cocoa drink. Look, cocoa drink is wonderful, right? You can have it, but don't just have cocoa drink alone. Make sure you add some protein to it. Um how about you have some boiled eggs? You have what's it called now? You have some boiled eggs, you have avocado pear, and then you have a cup of pure cocoa. Make sure you read it. They're not going to add things to it. So be careful. I was at the supermarket a few days ago. I always have it at home. Yeah, very wonderful stuff. I was at the supermarket a few days ago to get some, and I'm seeing that they're not adding things to it. So this is wonderful. You can have, but don't just have it alone. Don't just drink it because it is to an extent it is calorie dense. It is not calorie dense. It contains calories. So it's not something you eat and say you are fasting. You can't take it while you are fasting. It will break your fast. So when you are having it, make sure you have it as part of a meal. Okay? Make sure you have it as part of a meal. It's beautiful. Love that. Make sure, and then cocoa contains, it contains this antioxidants that are helpful to your body. That it's instead of you to spend your money on dark chocolates, right? Buy cocoa, buy pure cocoa. Don't go and be buying dark chocolates. That chocolate does not contain as much nutrients as pure cocoa. Very important. That's wonderful. I love that. Can we take bitter leaf drink? Yeah, yeah, you can have it. You can have it. You can have bitter leaf drink. Very important. You can have it. It's just, for someone that have sweet tooth, that have had sweet tooth for a very long time, it's not easy. It's not easy for them to just start taking bitter leaf drink, but I recommend it. It's wonderful. So yeah, I think I've answered most of the questions we have here. Oh my God, the questions are so much. Okay, let me give you guys, let me give you another, um, if one's job is not by demand. Oh my God. Okay, someone is asking an important question here. If one's job is mentally demanding, is OMAD healthy? Now, I'll answer you from my own point of view, right? My work is mentally demanding, right? Most of my work is mentally demanding, right? And the truth is that I tend to function at my best when I've not eaten. I tend to function at my best without food. I eat food only when I have accomplished the big task for the day. That's when I go ahead and have something to eat. Until that is done, I don't eat. Why? Because food, yeah, to a large extent, right, it kind of slows me down a bit. So because of that, I make sure I do most of what I have to do for the day before I go ahead and eat. Very important. So that is for me. So now, in your own case, mentally demanding, one of the benefits of intermittent fasting is mental clarity. If you do intermittent fasting and you do it, you will find out that when you are doing intermittent fasting, you are more focused than ever. All right. So that's one of the benefits of intermittent fasting. So for someone who is in a mentally demanding job, you should first don't jump into OMAD. Okay, don't jump into OMAD. Instead, do mostly intermittent fasting. IF. OMAD is something you apply strategically. You don't just start doing it frequently. Why not you try one of those days when you know that you don't have much on your plate? Okay, you start doing OMAD, right? And just see how it goes, right? I do it once or twice a week as part of my weekly routine, but just see how it goes for you. Start small. That's what matters. See how it goes, right? But one thing that you will benefit mostly from is intermittent fasting. If your job is, mentally demanding, you're going to benefit from intermittent fasting a whole lot. Okay. Now, one one thing, this is something I've been singing as like a song for a couple of months now. The order you eat your food matters. If you want to activate your body's natural GLP-1, the order you eat your food matters a lot. The order you eat your food matters a lot. Start with your protein. After that, your veggies, and lastly, your carbs. And please, let me give you this expo, right? Carbohydrates are best eaten at noon, right? At noon is the best time to eat your carbohydrate foods. Don't eat carbohydrate foods in the morning. Don't eat it late at night. Eat it at noon. Why? Because look, the only thing that carbohydrate food, what are carbohydrate food? I'm talking about your rice, your yam, your eba, your potatoes, your beans. your even the your breadfruits, your what's it called? The only reason why you are eating those foods, the only function of carbohydrates in your body is to give you energy. That is what carbohydrate food does for you. It gives you energy. Now, when you start your day with carbohydrates, it leads to a spike because then I don't want to go into insulin. I want us to focus more on GLP-1 here. I don't want to go in deep into insulin, but when you eat carbohydrates in the morning, it kind of leads to a huge spike in your insulin level because your body is not good at handling carbs early in the morning. The best time for your body to handle carbohydrates are late noon. And that is also strategic. Why? Because you will not have the rest of the day to burn off that carbohydrate you just ate. I told you the problem we are having in this generation is that we are consuming so much energy than we are burning. That is the biggest problem we have right now. So much energy, but we are just using so little. And this energy, when they stay in your body, when I started this, I told you that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but must be converted from one form to another. When you have so much energy stay laying on your body, it must be converted from one. That means that one form or the other could be one disease or another because it is just there sitting. That's the modern problem we have in this modern age. So make sure you are being strategic when you eat. The information you are giving to your body is okay. Let me eat this rice. Let me eat this eba. Let me eat this beans. Then I cannot take my evening walks and see that I burn off this energy I'm eating. It must stay in my body overnight. Yes, I know you're going to have dinner. Fine, have dinner, but make sure your dinner contains less amount of carbohydrates. Don't eat carbs and eat it and go and sleep. I've talked about. I've had a class where I taught you that look, you must make sure that you finish eating your dinner 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. 3 hours. And I mentioned specifically that before 6:30, 7 p.m., make sure you are done eating. Have a time in your house where your kitchen closes. A rule. Everybody in this house must abide to it. A rule that kitchen closes by 7 p.m. Once it's 7 p.m. and food is not ready or nobody has eaten, nobody goes to kitchen to start preparing food by 7 p.m. Why is that so? You are creating an environment where people now understand that look, this is how things are supposed to be done. And when you have kids who grow up in such an environment that food are eaten before 7 p.m., they don't go and start having issues with their body tomorrow in terms of trying to lose weight or having most of the lifestyle diseases we are struggling with in our society today. Why? Because they already know that small habit of stopping late night eating in your homes can actually bring about a huge change in your entire family's health. Before we had this class, I made sure this class started by 7 p.m. I made sure I had my dinner. So I know that I don't go back to the kitchen to start eating, to start looking for what to eat after this time. You should do it. You should try to practice it. It's very important. It's going to help you a lot. Okay. So the order you eat your food matters. I've talked about food timing as a full topic. There was a topic, there's the class we had, and I talked about food timing. And I hope that class you are part of it. It was a wonderful class. Talked about food timing, very important stuff. Okay. Now, another thing you can have is apple cider vinegar. ACV should not be lacking at your homes. It's very important, right? It helps with the whole GLP-1 activation process. Okay. Now, the reason why people take apple cider vinegar and don't see results is because most people don't know how to take it. I thought I've taught this class. I've taught these things in previous classes, right? Look at how you take ACV. You want to take ACV, right? You want to take ACV. You have it preferably 30 minutes before your lunch. Why am I using lunch? Because you are supposed to have your carbs at lunch. I've told you that earlier. Sorry. Okay, you are supposed to have your carbs at lunch. So you take your ACV 30 minutes before your lunch. And that helps you to, number one, avoid insulin spikes that comes from eating carbohydrate food. Okay. So that's one thing that happens when you take your ACV before you start eating carbohydrate meals. So you take it before then. And then secondly, because of the acetic acid content it has, it's also helpful. Okay, so that's one of the ways you can activate your GLP-1. 30 minutes before you have your lunch, have ACV. Okay. Now, another thing that can help you is this, and this one is very, very important. When you want to have your rice or your yam or your potato, whatever you want to have that contains a huge amount of carbohydrates. If you plan eating, say, rice tomorrow, prepare it today and then keep it in the fridge. Tomorrow morning, you heat it up and then you have it. If you want to have yam, you can do the same thing. If you want to have sweet potatoes, you can do the same thing. Look at what happens. When you do this, you tend to increase the level of resistant starch in that food. And what resistant starch does is that it reduces the effect of that particular food on your blood sugar levels. And by so doing, it will help you to lose weight even faster, despite you are eating rice, despite you are eating what's it called yam or whatever, because of that process of you cooking it, keeping it in the fridge overnight, and then coming back to reheat it, you kind of okay, you kind of increase this resistance starch, and you won't have the same. It looks as if you have increased. Resistance starch does something similar to fiber in foods, right? So just like how fiber slows down the rate at which most of the carbs from your food hits your body, okay? Resistance starch almost does the same thing. So by increasing its content in a meal, the blood sugar spikes that comes from eating that meal kind of reduces. Beautiful something. You should start doing it. You should start doing it. And it comes with planning. You know what you're eating today and tomorrow. You prepare it tonight, keep it in the fridge. Tomorrow, heat it up, and then you have it. Very important. Very important. Okay. All right. So I think we've talked enough. All right. Yes, I think we have a lot of those in Liwa. I will send you, or rather, I'll provide you with a comprehensive implementation note, just so you know exactly what to implement, and with more context, analogies, examples of what to do and all that. So I'll give you access to that, and you also have access to this recording. It's been like almost 2 hours. So for the rest of the class, we're going to spend some time taking your questions and you cannot call it a night. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. This is a good time to ask, and I will do well to take most of it. All right. I hope you've had a wonderful time tonight. So someone is asking about okay, autophagy. Yes, yes, it's not. Apoptosis is different from autophagy. Yeah, very, very correct. Thank you so much. Autophagy. Yeah. So someone is asking, when can one eat rice and other fruits? Fruit like mango, oranges, cucumber, beetroot, banana, and the rest of them. All right. So because of most from this question, it is not. I was thinking, okay, you are referring to high fiber fruits, but from the fruits you mentioned, rather high sugar fruits. But you mentioned beetroot, you mentioned cucumber, so I don't think you are specifically talking about high fiber fruit here. So because of that, the rice is best eaten as lunch, right? It's best to eat rice at lunch. Now, fruit like mango, oranges, banana, right? Those fruits are high sugar fruits. And the way I recommend eating such fruit is, let's say you want to have your lunch. When you're done eating your lunch, then you can have them in measured quantity. In measured quantity. So you are done eating your meal, you can have probably one banana, you can have one orange, you can have one orange, you can have just a medium-sized mango, just like that. It must be measured. You don't try to over-consume it because it's sweet, right? Cucumber is, you can have cucumber in the morning, evening, or night, right? Beetroot is also something you can have, right? You can have it. Those are not really high sugar fruits compared to mango, oranges, banana, right? So because of that, you can have cucumber morning, afternoon, night, whatever you want. But you should understand that you cannot just have it if you are as I don't recommend snacking. Snacking is a very new concept. It's not something that we human beings are developed to do, especially in this our generation. No matter what, you should not find yourself snacking unnecessarily. Don't. So don't snack on them. Don't feel like, oh, I can always snack on this at any time. No. Try not to snack, right? Okay. Now I asked if it is okay to boil the garden eggs. I already answered that question. If you don't like chicken, can you take turkey? Of course. Of course you can have turkey. Okay. If one's job is mentally demanding, I've answered that question. What brand of cocoa would be best here? Any brand that doesn't have any form of additives. So if you are seeing that it contains just pure cocoa, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Any brand at all that doesn't have any added, it doesn't matter what they add to it. If they have added anything aside cocoa, don't take it. If I prefer turkey to chicken, is that better? Of course. What is ACD? Okay, I think you meant ACV. ACV stands for apple cider vinegar, right? So apple cider vinegar is made from fermented apples. I recommend you go with the one that has the mother. Those ones are very wonderful. So the one I have at home here, the one I take is with the mother. So ACV, yeah, apple cider vinegar. What's the best time for one to take fruit juice? Never. There's no time that is best to take fruit juice. Never take fruit juice. Never take fruit juice. It doesn't matter whether you juice it at home. It doesn't matter whether you buy it outside. Never take fruit juice. Don't take fruit juice. Why are you taking fruit juice? Don't take fruit juice. Like, okay, okay. Maybe I will assume that you are just new but then I know your name. You are part of our program. You are currently in our program right now. And you got amazing results. I was going through your report a couple of weeks ago. I think it's you. Yeah. Let me just check. Yes. Gesere Ogori. Let me see. You are currently in rapid research. I don't know how much weight you've lost so far. So I'm not happy you're asking about this produce. I thought I expect people that are very, very new to us to I want to check how much weight Ogori has lost so far. And okay, okay, so she has lost 6 inches and 2 kgs in the past 2 weeks, less than 3 weeks of the program. Very consistent. I love her so much. Her consistency is something that I so enjoy. So wonderful, wonderful. So you are doing amazing. I don't know. You have not yet updated your progress report, so I don't know how much weight you've lost so far. But from the last time you did your progress report, I'm seeing that you've lost 2 kgs and 6 inches of your body. Wonderful. You can't take fruit juice. I'm sorry, you can't. We don't allow fruit juice on the program, and you are not supposed to take fruit juice. Look, let me tell you something. When you have fruits, I will use pineapple fruit as an example. There are three forms you can have pineapple, right? Three forms human beings have pineapple. You can have the whole pineapple, you can make it into a smoothie, and you can make it into a fruit juice. Those are the three forms of pineapple can exist that we can take, right? The way your body sees full pineapple is not the same way your body see smoothie. It's not the same way your body sees what's it called now? Your body sees the juice form. The worst form is when it is in juice form. Why? Because you are just going to spike your insulin levels and it's going to go off the roof. And at the same and another big problem is that unlike the whole pineapple, that's one that has not been juiced, you cannot eat. There's a limit to how much you can eat, and you can't eat more. You are just okay. But you see that juice, you can have the juice and you can drink a full pineapple when it's in juice form. You can drink it all and you are still not satisfied. But you cannot eat a full pineapple in one sitting. You can't do that. You can't. But just when it's in juice form, you can have it all. And yet you have not eaten yet. And you see the energy problem we are having these days, right? That is the energy problem we are having these days. So no, you cannot have pineapple. Why? Because it is detrimental to your health. Have the fruit in its whole form. That is the best way to have it. In fact, I had to make changes to our smoothies, right? If you're on the program and you ever have to take smoothie, that means you are trying to take something that is maybe contains something bitter, and we want you to, make things easier for you. So we can just say you should add add banana to it or add pineapple to it, just to help sweeten it up for you to be able to take it, depending on the kind of protocol you are on. So we don't take pineapple. Don't take pineapple. Don't take juice. Oh my God! Don't take juice. No, no pineapple. Don't take juice. Right? Can you take ACV after meal or in the night before going to bed? The best way, I've mentioned this earlier, the best way to take your ACV is before your meal. 20 minutes before your meal, you have a spoon of ACV in a glass of water. You take it after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you have your meal. Not after your meal. Not after your meal. you have it before your meal. Taking it after your meal is wrong. Okay. Now, in the night before going to bed, why not take it before having your dinner? That is the way it works. That is the way it works. If you are taking HCV, the reason you are taking HCV is to help improve your insulin sensitivity. That is the biggest thing that HCV can do for you. It can help improve your insulin sensitivity. I don't want to get into insulin. Insulin is something I don't want to get into tonight. But when you start taking HCV, it can improve your insulin sensitivity. And so the best times to take it is before your meals, not after. Not after. That's the best way to take it. So in both cases, I advise otherwise. Have it before your meal, right? Have it at night before dinner if your dinner contains some form of carbohydrates. Okay? Okay, does that also happens with beans? I mean, okay, now, okay, I didn't mention beans and I didn't mention plantain. When I was talking about you cooling your food, right? You cooling your carbohydrate foods before eating it the next day. I didn't mention beans and plantain, unripe plantain on purpose. By the way, you have to stop taking ripe plantain. It's very important. You have to stop taking ripe plantain because the way your body sees ripe plantain is 100% different from the way your body sees unripe plantain. They are different food in different categories. Do you understand what I'm saying? Unripe plantain and ripe plantain are different foods in different categories. So the way your body sees them are completely different. Okay. Okay, this person, this is okay. I'm just seeing that this is Genia. Genia is also in our program. Genia Okafor, she's currently in our program. Rosemary Otikere is currently in the program. Amazing result these ladies are getting on the program. Wonderful results. Let me see if I can come, if I can just look out for Rosemary's results. I don't know if she did her progress reports. I think she did. Yes. So just a second, I want to see how much weight she lost on the program. She has lost on the program so far. Amazing result these people are getting. She's also a very consistent person as well. Wonderful. Okay, she has lost 2 kgs and 12 inches in less than 2 weeks. Wonderful, wonderful. 2 kgs and 12 inches in less than 2 weeks, in less than 3 weeks. That's amazing. Amazing. So I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed um, by the results so far. Really amazing. Really amazing. All right, let's continue. Okay. Okay. Sandra is asking, Coach, please drinking psyllium husk 30 minutes before meal control appetite. Yeah, psyllium husk is nice, right? It's a very good form of fiber. So yes, you can have it. You can have psyllium husk 30 minutes before your meal. Okay, that works. That helps. I usually recommend psyllium husk for those who take swallows. If you can replace most of your swallows with psyllium husk and have it, wonderful, wonderful. It doesn't matter what kind of swallow you are having. If you can replace most part of it with psyllium husk, it's gonna help you to lower your calorie intake, lower your the insulin spike of the swallow, and a whole lot of other benefits. So yeah, so what is the measurement of ACV to be taken? Right, so you can take a teaspoon of tablespoon of ACV in a glass of water. I mean other fruit aside apple. That's not clear. Okay. What of squeezed bitter leaf water? Is that okay? Yes, I've answered that earlier. How about smoothies? I just talked about smoothies now. So, coach, are you saying we should not be taking ACV as first thing in the morning? So, what I'm saying is this, right? The best, the best, the best times to have ACV, right? I've told you if you are trying to, I know in the program right now, we incorporate ACV as a fasting liquid that it is. It's something you can have while you are fasting, okay? But if you are trying to improve your insulin sensitivity, okay, if you are trying to improve your insulin sensitivity, the best times to have it are 30 minutes before a heavy carb meal. But if ACV helps you, if you take it in the morning and you notice that it helps you curb your cravings, it helps you control your appetite, you can of course have it. It's part of it's something you can have while you're fasting, literally. So if it helps you go through your fast, is very important. But the when it comes to the application in terms of you boosting your overall and it doesn't stop you. You can have it while you're fasting and also have it during your meal. Just before your meal, you can also have it. So it doesn't stop you. If you take it in the morning, if you find out that you take ACV in the morning and you are, your appetite levels are regulated, you don't kind of feel cravings throughout the day, you can have it. You can have it for sure. Okay, you never take fruit juice forever and ever. Oh, you never take fruit juice forever and ever. But then why do you want to take fruit juice? I don't get it. I don't get, you have fruit. You can have fruit, absolutely. Why do you have to juice it? God that made fruit and made it in the way it is, He knows better than all of us. Oh, no, let's leave it the way God made it. Let's take it the way God made it. Look, fruits are not something you should joke with because people you can be doing everything right, and just because you are taking fruit juice, you can get stuck while trying to lose weight. I've seen it happen a whole like I can't count the number of times that has happened with some people I've worked with. And until they opened up and said, "Oh, it's just fruit juice I was taking," and I was shocked. And we are here trying to understand why you are trying to see results, and you're just bringing it up now. You've been taking fruit juice on the program. So no, you don't take fruit juice, right? Let's eat fruit the way God made it. There's a reason why it is the way it is. By the time you start juicing it, by the time you start juicing it, you are providing your body with so much energy that it has no use for. It has no use for. That's the problem. And there's no fiber to even control the insulin spike that comes from the fruit. That is the problem. That is the problem. So let's not dwell on that. Don't take fruit juice. Don't take it. Enjoy your fruit. Okay? Enjoy your fruit. Junior, enjoy it. You love it. Is almond milk advisable to drink with green as milk? I don't get that question. I don't really get I don't really get it. Is almond milk advisable to drink with green as milk? I will assume this is green, like the green they sell in the market, like green this green leaf, almond milk and green. If you're going to incorporate protein into that, but I don't recommend. The reason why I don't recommend almond milk is because you know how the ones they sell in stores are not really what you think it is. It's not pure almond milk. That's just the problem I do have with those things. Right? If you can get pure almond milk, fine. Well, you know how to make it at home. Some persons buy the almond nut and they blend it into milk at home and they have it. But then I don't really understand the milk because I'm not seeing any protein. I'm not getting a good idea of what the milk comprises of. So I can't really advise on what to do. I can't advise much on that. Sorry. Are dried strawberry fruit allowed? No. Dried fruit, don't take dried fruit. Don't take dried fruit. Eat strawberries. not dried fruits. Please don't take dried. What is ACV? ACV is apple cider vinegar. For you explain that. Can I take yogurt for dinner? You want to take yogurt for dinner? Like how does that work? You just take the yogurt and then go to sleep. If it's Greek yogurt and it is unsweetened, mm, yes, I would allow that if it is Greek yogurt and it is unsweetened. That could I could allow that, but I'm still worried about why you want to have Greek yogurt for dinner. Is this something you want to use as a form of indulgence? That's the question. But if it's unsweetened Greek yogurt and is not the regular yogurt, that could fly. What of supplement during weight loss? Okay, supplement, yeah. This class is not about supplements, right? I know we're talking about GLP-1, right? This if we are to have a conversation around supplement for weight loss, it's not be a class of its own because there is a whole lot I have to talk about when it comes to supplements, right? But that will be a class of its own. Can one take parfait as dinner at least once a week? Parfait. Okay. If you are taking parfaits that is sold in stores and stuff like that, that won't fly. But if you make your parfait at home, right? My only concern are with the fruits. I can recommend you make how do you make parfait? You can make parfait yourself with Greek yogurt. You can get some fruits and add to it, and you can have it and with some nuts, right? You can have it as a meal. I would encourage that for lunch, but for dinner, I won't. I don't know. Dinner, the fruits that you're going to be using is something that will determine if it's going to fly for dinner or not. Okay. But overall, you can have it as lunch, and you can't buy the one that is made in stores because, of course, those ones are made using regular yogurt, not Greek yogurt. So you can make it yourself. Get some fruits, get Greek yogurt, get some nuts, and make sure you don't overdo the nuts. Good, make use of fruit and make sure you don't overdo the fruit as well, and you're good to go. Okay, so I think we're almost done. Can you grind flaxseed, almond seeds, chia seeds together with oats for swallow or drink? Yeah, for drink, yes, right? Now there's this high protein drink we are going to be introducing to the next cohort of the program, which makes use of most of these things you've mentioned, right? Yeah, excuse me. So yeah, it's could, but you will have it as a meal, not as something you drink and then go ahead to eat something. So it's going to be quick meals. We are going to be implementing the next cohort of the program. We're introducing new things to it anyway. So this part of what we're going to be one of the meals you're going to see. But this is not complete. There are other things you will add to it as well. Interesting things, right? So you can make it into swallow. Yeah, that this is okay. But if you are making it to swallow, you shouldn't add almond seeds to it. You shouldn't add almond. I think you mean almond nuts. You shouldn't add almond nuts to it if you are making it into swallow. But for drink, yeah, you can add almond nuts to it. Okay. Can I take? Oh my God, the questions are on end. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank God. Okay. Can I take almond milk or non-fast milk? What is the best time? Okay. So if you want to have milk on the program, right? Um, the diary we use regularly on the program is decubits. That's the diary that you will see frequently on the program. Okay. Now, there are times where we allow you to have pure cocoa, right? There are times where we allow, where you see pure cocoa drink reflect on your meal. Depends on the kind of strategy we are trying to apply and what we are trying to, result we are trying to get with the meal plan. Okay, so there are some meal plans where, based on, because of the strategy we are trying to apply and what we are trying to achieve, we kind of, you will see pure cocoa. So in that case, you can actually add some almond milk to it. Yes, add some almond milk to it. So I can't really tell you the best time, because that will mean that I have to explain certain meal protocols to you, and I don't think I would not really go deep into explaining that to client, because I will feel like those information are not really beneficial to them. But it will, from the next cohort, every Monday before you get, since a new plan drops on Fridays, every Monday you are going to get a video that will explain what what we are trying to achieve, and a whole lot. You're going to be getting that every Monday or Sunday. I can't remember when, but you're going to be seeing a video. I'm going to do a video breakdown of your new plan for you every single week. Okay. Please, what is GLP-1? I mean the meaning. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide. That's the meaning. Glucagon-like peptide. That is what it means. Okay. I think. Okay. Wow. I think the rest of the questions is best you ask in the group, and I will do well to respond as time permits me. So this is almost 9:30. I have to start prepping for sleep, because I have to be in bed soon. Okay, so I think that is it. I hope we've had a wonderful time. And this is something we're going to be doing more often, and it won't take this long. If I have to do it more often, I have to make it shorter. I've spent over 2 hours, 12 minutes live in this class. And you people are not leaving. We've had the same 30 persons, I mean, close to 40 persons here live, and you are not going anywhere. So we have to call it a night at some point. So let me know. Let me know in the chat if you learned something from this class, if this class was useful to you. I love reading feedback, because feedback is how I improve my delivery. So let me know in the chat if you found this class helpful tonight. And I think because of this person that asked about supplements, I may have to host another class to tell you about supplements. And talking about supplements, right? One of the things, if you notice online, people that sell supplements, I mean teas, right? People that sell teas online, teas that help suppress appetite. Okay, most of those teas contains. If you have ever bought those things online, you will observe that those ones that tends to work actually are bitter, and it's not a mistake, right? They are bitter, and because they are bitter, some of them tend to help you regulate your. They don't burn fat. They don't help you lose weight. But because of that same bitter effect I've talked to you guys about, from the garden eggs, from the bitter leaf, and bitter leaf soup, and the rest of them, that same effect is still what is acting in most of those bitter drinks you take, and then you feel like, okay, you're able to control your appetite, your cravings are at bay throughout the day. Still the same effect, right? So why I'm saying is because someone asked about supplement, and I remember these things are most of what people buy online, and they don't understand that it is because it is bitter That is why you are able to regulate your appetite levels, your hunger levels. You're no more craving for foods as you go throughout the day and stuff like that. So, okay, so I'm getting some feedback here. Some persons say they learned a lot. That's nice. That's nice. It's good to know. The next time, I promise you, my camera quality will be way better, better than it is right now. Hopefully. All right. So let me know. Share your experience with me live here on the chat. I'm seeing so many persons who are in the program live here. I'm seeing Tuan Anibaba, Tuan Alibaba. She's part of the program right now. Adetuan. I don't know if I'm getting the pronunciation right. How are you doing? It's nice to see you in class tonight. Your result. You'll need to be online. Your result is amazing, amazing. Last time I checked, I saw wonderful progress, and you're very consistent, right? Very consistent. You've lost 7 kgs plus 13 inches of your body. 7 kgs and 13 inches of your body in less than 21 days. This is Tuan Anibaba. Very wonderful. Congratulations. I'm super proud. Super proud. Another person on the program is Bukola Ifaturoti. She's still on the program. I'm sorry about the pronunciations. Apologies. Bukola Ifaturoti. She's on the program right now. Amazing results. Medua is still part of the rapid reset. Many people from the program joined tonight. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's wonderful to see you and to have these conversations with you. And I'm happy you found the class interesting. We have so much to talk about, and my plan is to make this conversation something we can have on a weekly basis. So once a week, we have these conversations where I get to teach and then you share questions. And not just that, you also let me know if you are struggling on the program and we address it. Whatever issues challenges you are facing on the program, we address it. Tuan Anibaba says she's doing all right. She's doing fine. Thanks. That's nice. I'm really proud of you, by the way. Your results are quite inspirational. They are wonderful. Rosemary Otikperi, your amazing results you got as well. So I'm happy. I'm happy because that goes a lot to show that you don't need GLP-1. The whole point of the class tonight is to tell you that you don't need GLP-1 to see results. Okay? The program you are currently on, the way it is designed, the way we design the program is that it automatically activates that GLP-1 in your body. So you start burning fat by using that natural GLP-1. You don't need don't need to start spending hundreds of thousands of naira on injections. Okay, it's very important I make this clear, right? And that's why I have to share some of this result for you to know and see that it is actually possible. These people are live here on this class right now, and I'm checking their results and I'm letting you know that they are seeing results and they're not on these medications. All right, so I enjoyed your company tonight, and I hope to see you again. Hopefully next week. Next week we're going to be coming up with another important conversation, and we're going to have an amazing time as well. So until then, do have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.